Would you like to see something strange? Come behold a ghastly sight. This our town on Nightmare Night.
This is Nightmare Night, it is such a fright.
Pumpkins scream in the dead of night. This is Nightmare Night, everyone turn out the light. Trick or treat,
Till the neighbors come and die of fright.
it's our town, everybody scream. Nightmare Night is on the scene.
One-eyed under your bed, teeth ground sharp and eyes glowing red.
Hello and welcome to the Heroic Review. I'm Deadly Reg, and on this spooky day we are talking about Scaremaster, an episode in which Fluttershy realizes that scaring people is rubbish. Joining me this week is Greg.
Hello, everyone. This episode's title is a bad pun.
Gray,
Hola, amigos.
PDK,
안녕하세요.
Webshotter.
Hello, everyone.
So what did we think of this week's episode, starting with you, Greg?
Well, I am one of the people who watched The Leaked a few weeks ago, so I've already seen it a couple times in my
Boo.
thing.
Shame on you.
Boo, shame.
Oh, shut
Shame.
Shame.
Yeah.
Don't
Shame
worry,
me
Greg.
all you
You're not
want.
the only one. I watched
I
it too.
enjoyed the episode,
Shame.
though. Part of it's a connection to Halloween-themed episodes, though, because my first episode of this show was actually Luna Eclipsed.
Oh, wow.
But
It's quite a drop-in point.
I really did enjoy it. Fluttershy's attempts to be scary are just hilarious and then actually terrifying.
Gray?
It is confirmed for Doom Bunny. Angel is the most diabolical character I have ever seen in a show, cartoon show. I'll put it that way.
PDK?
I enjoyed. I like Halloween episodes too, but yeah, I have no real complaints. But compared to the last couple episodes that I really liked, it's fair to middling.
Webshotter?
References everywhere. And yes, it was really enjoyable.
Spooky references.
This was written by Natasha Levenger, who also wrote Maud Pie. It was very spooky. I thought the script was pretty sharp, but it's not that I didn't like it. It's just that the show's done better episodes. It was okay.
I like this episode.
Okay, but we did have a lion in the episode, so I was pretty happy about that. I'm very fond of lions.
Lion Applejack was
Lion Applejack.
adorable.
Lion Jack.
Health claws are canon.
So we had Fluttershy actually learning from the events of a previous episode, shock horror. She referenced back to Philly Vanilli, where she'd realized that sometimes comes out of her comfort zone, she learns something good about herself, where everything is fun and she can have a great time. And that was interesting because the show has really liked its continuity as of late.
Continuity.
Along with Twilight teaching the same lesson in the same type of episode.
Yes. There wasn't really a lesson to be learned. The lesson that got learned here, just skipping to the end of the episode, the lesson that got learned wasn't anything external. It was a realization by Fluttershy that just because you can try to come out of your comfort zone, it doesn't mean you'll necessarily succeed. PDK.
I am going to disagree with you there. I think there was a lesson to be learned, and it's certainly an internal self-learned type thing. But they've basically compared and contrasted the previous episode, Philly Vanilli, like you mentioned. But instead of her specifically doing I'm such an introvert, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, I just want to sit at home and do nothing. They've very specifically had a character who could have just been the shy, boring, sit-at-home character say, no, you know what? I liked what I do. I don't have to come out, and I give it a go, but this is me basically saying where my boundaries are. I don't enjoy this, but you guys go ahead. And it's not an introvert versus extrovert thing like the previous episode. This is very much her saying, here's, where I draw the line of what I enjoy and what I don't feel the need to do just because you guys are doing it.
Peer pressure.
Kind of like, okay, I tried it, and now I don't feel the need to do it anymore,
Yeah.
Just because she tried it and it went well doesn't necessarily mean she's going to change everything. She learned something, but she learned she likes things just the way they are.
Isn't that what she said in the rave episode where she partied too much?
No, there was no rave episode where she partied too much.
Greg, don't confuse people.
There should be, though.
There is no Ravershy. You'll not see an episode where she gets strung up on goofballs and parties herself to exhaustion.
We're going to make it a thing. It's going to happen.
No. This episode was essentially Philly Vanilli Mark II. It was an episode about Fluttershy trying to come out of her comfort zone and trying to become a more quote-unquote fixed not a human being, because she's a horse. but a more
Equine
a more
being.
fixed equine, where judging her social introversion as a distinct negative and her trying to overcome that restraint on herself, but realizing that it's self-imposed for a reason. And I thought that was quite good, because I don't like going out and doing scary stuff on Halloween because I am lazy and tired and 32 years old.
I'm going to argue again against what you just said, because you said it was Milli Vanilli Mark II, and I specifically argued against that. And I'm saying that it's not about introvert versus extrovert. This is about personal boundaries, and it has nothing to do with the fact that she likes to, be a shy person. You're framing it in a very specifically different way to what I got from that.
I feel like in the light of your comments, I am framing it incorrectly. As you say, it isn't introvert versus extrovert, which was the entire point of Milli Vanilli. You're right. It's more a case of personal boundaries. So, but in this case, Fluttershy learns that hiding under the bed and drinking a lot of tea is actually a good thing. And I think that is a very valuable lesson for kids to learn, that their personal boundaries are irrespective of their own sort of social choices. She wants to have fun with her friends, but she doesn't find it fun, so she's not going to do it. Even though her friends would like her to do it, she isn't going to, because it's not her kind of fun. That is a lesson that children need to learn, and I think this episode is quite worthy. I'm actually growing to like this episode more the more I discuss it.
That's usual. We usually do it the opposite way. But yeah, it's about personal choices, and specifically saying to kids, just because all your friends are doing something that they enjoy, don't feel you need to go along and do something that everybody around you is considered fun. It's your choice. If you like to sit at home and read a book, sit at home and read a book. There's no labeling of, oh, she's just super shy and hates everything scary kind of thing. It's just like, no, Fluttershy wants to have the fun that she wants to have every year on this day in that way. So yeah, it's not necessarily about, and it's got nothing to do with raves, Gray.
What?
It's also about, it's a good idea to go out and try these things, though. You don't have to like it, but it's cool to try it.
Yeah,
it shows character growth that she references the lesson and she says, well, I tried something so let's give it a go. So it is, harping back to that, but not explicitly saying, well, you have to try everything once. It's her saying, well, you guys enjoy it, I'm going to give it a go, and then at the end of the day saying, I didn't have fun, I'm not going to do it just because, there's some kind of pressure on me to.
I think it's first worth pointing out that her first attempt to scare people is to put them in the worst situation she can imagine, which is a really terrible tea party going massively wrong.
Which shows her greatest fear is social awkwardness.
Yes. Which I think is beautiful.
And it is hilarious.
Great.
I actually liked what they have done with Fluttershy, and that they showed way back in Griffin the Brush Off how she was scared of her own shadow, and now she's able to at least walk around terrified instead of boarding up the doors and everything.
For the record, the fear of her own shadow was Dragonshy, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yes.
Well, then I'll shut up because I don't know ponies.
No, it's fine. Dragonshy.
Well, that
Griffin
was
the
like
Brush
5
Off were
years
very
ago.
close. Griffin the Brush Off was episode 7, Dragonshy was episode 9, so it's close enough.
Man, I don't even remember the titles of the episode apart from when we do this, so it really doesn't matter.
They're gone and then they're here and then they're gone.
Exactly.
No, they have done some characterization growth. It did feel like she was a naturally grown character from previous appearances. She did give it a go. We know that most terrifying fear is massive social awkwardness and everybody judging her. But we also know that when she listens to the tiny rabbit that lives in her house, she can actually be really good at scaring people. But that doesn't mean that she's going to do it. Just because you're good at something doesn't mean you have to do it, kids.
That's also a good lesson.
It means that tiny rabbit is a sick, twisted little bunny.
Beware of Doom Bunny.
Great.
What I was going to say is, did anyone else notice Fluttershy's voice massively change?
No.
When did she have her voice change?
When they ran out of the cave, and then she, can't remember if she said something or if she laughed, but I know when she
just kind of
she
laughed.
Okay, yeah.
That laugh did sound a little more, I'd say like almost Tabitha St. Germain-ish.
That's what I was thinking.
I think that's just her, because she was at Flutterbat at that point and she's doing the whole playing a character.
in
I guess they
character.
want to differentiate that.
Yeah, she was. She was pretty much just being in character of the vampire fruit bat.
We wouldn't know anything about getting in character.
Yeah, no, not an heroic review. I liked cavalcade of costumes that Fluttershy was uncomfortable wearing because if she got trapped in a dangerous situation, she might fall over it. And then everyone started falling over their costumes.
Yep.
It was...
And not being able to see through their masks and etc., etc.
Speaking of costumes,
Yeah, speaking of costumes, freaking Rarity. Her costume is dangerous for not just her, but for others around her.
What, the constant face slapping?
See ponies.
Yeah, she makes a turn, and next thing you know, slap to the face.
And that's exactly the kind of danger that Fluttershy was warning against. If your costume is too rambunctious, you should be prepared to rein it in a little bit. But no, I thought this was a pretty straightforward, simple episode. Fluttershy realizes she doesn't want to do something.
Also, it's been confirmed that she's into anime, apparently.
There was a Ranma 1/2 at least reference in those ponies that were late to the party.
At least one of them, I think, was a Sailor Moon reference as well.
Ranma half, Sailor Moon, Evangelion, and Dragon Ball. And there was another one that I can't think of.
I didn't get a good enough look at the cardboard cutouts in my watch through, so like everyone else, I'll have to go through the wiki and look through the pictures. Like everyone else who obsesses about this horse show, I'll need to go through and confirm all of my biases.
Well, you're not nearly as obsessive as the ones who meticulously screen cap every single interesting thing and put it on the wiki.
True.
I wish to be them.
Also, one of the ponies that was walking around town looked like Jim.
Yeah, we could go down the long list of all the costume references, but there's lots. And
that would make
not.
the video take like an hour.
We're about halfway
So-
through the episode, and this is normally where we
Let's,
start talking about dresses. So
Can we bring up Derpy Watch, though?
Yeah, Derpy Watch.
Derpy showed up in the maze dressed as Princess Twilight.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty
beautiful.
funny.
I thought that was a joke that landed
Her
well.
crudely painted hide.
It landed well, landed solidly. Good joke, everybody. Good reference.
I'm sorry, I just recall we had a Derpy Watch segment. I don't remember whose speciality that
it
was.
used to be
Sweetly's
Sweetly's.
on, yeah. I also just realized that I was at a con last week, and there's a lot of people wearing that costume, and I did not
Wait.
get it.
Wearing Derpy as Princess Twilight costume.
That, and then they had just the paper towel or the toilet paper rolls stuck on their head, just walking around like that. I didn't understand it.
That's extremely meta. So
They all
Seriously.
obviously watched it leaked.
Obviously, shame on them. Shame on everyone.
I feel like we've discussed this episode.
Yeah, there's not much to it. We've discussed the core thingy, and beyond going through the long list of references, which I just do not see the point.
Or the
yeah.
twisted scares that were set up by Fluttershy and Angel.
I have two questions as to the continuity of the show.
Yes.
Skeletons, first of all. So there are skeletons, which means death. So they are.
They did take the time out to draw what a pony skeleton looks like in this episode.
And Granny Smith's skeleton, which may be foreshadowing. Who knows?
It was pretty dark to have a fake dead Fanny Smith
It's
and
true.
for Applejack to be the one to sort of decapitate her. That's like, wow. That might scar her for a bit.
Probably has.
Well, again, I'm fairly certain that all of those scares were directly out of Angel's twisted little mind.
Oh, certainly.
I don't doubt
That
it.
bunny is evil.
I have to say, in terms of the spookiness bar, it was raised for this episode. The level of spook was high for a children's television show, I feel.
Indeed.
I don't know. I mean, it was pretty still tame. I mean, you know, beyond a big bear dressed as a sea monster or something, nothing was really scary, you know.
I just think of all those skeletons. Well, we do have a lot of skeletons around, but for a show to acknowledge its
It
own
wasn't
skeletons,
nearly as cutesified as a lot of Halloween specials get at that bit.
There was no great pumpkin.
There was no great pumpkin.
There was. It had a smiley face at the beginning of the episode.
Oh, well, there was a
that
great
pumpkin was hardly great.
It seemed pretty cool.
It was an okay pumpkin. It was a pretty cool pumpkin,
You
but
wait-
it wasn't a great pumpkin.
Okay.
You wait the okay pumpkin. Does anyone want to bring up any other points of this episode?
Other than Granny Smith is pretty terrible and scaring people or ponies. No.
Ooh, yep.
I adored the drawings on the candy bags that Pinky
Yeah.
handed out. Those are beautiful. That was a proper Tumblr-esque there.
Whenever the show has to do terrible art of something, it does it really, really well. Whenever there was a terrible
seems a bit of an
in-character drawing.
oxymoron. Yeah,
The flashcards from the episode where too many pinkies, things like that, where they have to do art that's kind of terrible. They do it super in this wonderful style that makes it just easy to parrot and funny. So
I do love all of Fluttershy's excuses for not doing it, like the costumes and then not wanting to eat the candy in case her mouth gets glued shut with taffy and she can't scream.
And that just makes everyone put down their candy bags.
Didn't Rainbow dump hers directly into her helmet?
Yes.
Without taking it off, yes.
Or unwrapping anything. She's not going to have a good time there.
She's going to have a terrible time.
That's future Rainbow's problem, though. This is Nightmare Night Rainbow Dash. She just wants to get scared and enjoy her candy. Enjoy your candy, wrappers and all.
So this was the Heroic Review, reviewing the latest episode, The Scare Master. I was your moderator, Deadly Reg, and joining me was Greg.
Long days and pleasant nights, and that title is still a terrible pun.
Gray.
See y'all later.
PDK.
Annyeong.
Webshotter.
Take care, everyone. See you in the future.
And have a very spooky Halloween. Or had
Bye-bye.
a spooky Halloween. Bye.
In this town on Nightmare Night.
In this town, don't we love it now? Every pony's waiting for the next surprise. Nightmare Moon might catch you in your room and scream like a bitch to make you jump out of your skin.
This is Nightmare Night. Everyone scream.
Would you please make way for Royal?
Nightmare Moon is queen of the nightmares now. Everyone hail to the Nightmare Queen.
Now.
This is Nightmare Night. This is Nightmare Night.
Nightmare Night, Nightmare Night, Nightmare Night, Nightmare